both Gentile and Jew alike, stand guilty before the Almighty God for crucifying the Son of Glory. So they condemn him to die. They lash his crosspiece on his shoulders, and he's off into the Via Dolorosa, the way of suffering, and makes his way through the famous route out to the hill of Calvary. And right now he's in shock and falls, and a Gentile from Cyrene has to help him carry the crosspiece, and they make their way out to the hill of Calvary. Even by Roman standards, crucifixion was a torturous, inhumane way to die, was reserved only for the worst of criminals. And what they generally did is they crucified the worst of the criminals on the way to the city gate. So, we drive into a city. I was cruising up into Ventura yesterday, and I saw this sign, welcome to Ventura, population, whatever. Okay? When you walked into Jerusalem or an ancient city, what did you walk into? As you made your way to the city gate, you walked by the bodies of men agonizing and moaning and screaming with crows plucking at them and their bodies lacerated. This is your entrance into an ancient city. Now, the message is pretty clear. Don't be screwing up in my city. It was a crime deterrent, and the crime was put on the titulus above the cross, so the people would say, I'm not doing that while I'm in this city. The reason it was so slow and agonizing as a death is that it didn't puncture any of the vital organs, and so you could live for a long time, days even, on the cross. And to make matters worse, in an honor-shame society, crucifixion was generally done with frontal nudity. So that meant that your genitals were just hanging out for everybody to look at. It was the absolute worst possible thing you could do in that cultural context. And there was, incredible shame. The victim was placed generally naked. His hands were nailed to the crosspiece, and then the crosspiece was generally lowered down onto an upright that was permanently put in the ground. And then his feet were nailed to probably a little platform on the bottom of the piece. And this began an agonizing time because the pressure would slink down and it would constrict the lungs, and then you begin to oxygenate and cry. Your body's crying out because there's too much carbon dioxide, and the only way you can get a breath is you've got to stand up on that nail. And with the pain shooting up through the sciatic, you begin fighting for breath until you can't stand it anymore, and then you slink down in your hands. And so it's this long agony of standing up and slinking down and standing up and slinking down, and Jesus had no flesh really for the most part on his back, and so he's going up and down on this upright piece,